So I'd like to welcome on stage Ola Majekodunmi. She's the founder of All Things Money, a podcast host, and she's been featured in lots of newspapers, including the Financial Times, the Daily Mail, and lots more. So I'm sure you're going to have some questions afterwards, after she's spoken, so please have a think. And we're going to ask her some questions after she's spoken, but please give Ola a very big warm welcome.
Hello everyone, we're nearly there, last talk of the evening. I need some smiles, make me feel welcome on here. I trekked all the way from London to Birmingham today, so I need you to guys just give me some energy, alright? So yeah, like I was kindly introduced, my name is Ola and I am the founder of All Things Money. So All Things Money is a personal finance platform that was designed to teach young adults how to manage their finances. I'm pretty sure most of you sat in the audience have not been taught about money in school or university. Hands up if you can agree. Yeah, exactly. So this is the main reason why I created All Things Money, to teach young adults the whole world of finance, from budgeting and saving to investing and literally everything else in between. So I started the platform during a fun time called the pandemic. I don't know if anyone else has heard of it, but yeah, that's what inspired me to create it in that time, as I was a University of Birmingham student, was kind of thrown into the deep end. All my exams got cancelled, so I was like, why not start an Instagram page to kind of keep me ticking for the duration of lockdown? And since then, we're now a community of over 20,000 young people. So three main takeaways. What I'll be covering today is to help you guys manage your money effectively as a student. So I will be sharing some tips on how you guys can budget effectively, how you can create a pot of savings, and how you can make some extra cash while studying at university. So let's get started with budgeting. Does anyone actually have a budget right now, currently sat in the audience? Few hands. Safe space, guys. I don't eat, I don't bite people. Amazing. So with one of you guys that put your hands up, does anyone want to give me a brief introduction into what a budget is? Yeah. Yep. Basically, exactly that. So, like you kindly mentioned, a budget is essentially a spending plan that is designed to help us manage our money effectively. So either on a monthly or weekly basis, the whole aim of a budget is to hopefully stop us from overspending. Now, you guys sat in the audience, I don't know if anyone has ever got to the end of the month and has been shocked at how little they have left. Anyone? Yep. I have as well. I've been to uni. I know it gets like that sometimes. So yeah, the reason why I asked that is because a budget is really important, as it allows us to track our spending. It allows us to review where our money has gone. So like we mentioned, a few people have been guilty of maybe overspending a little bit too much. And hopefully the whole aim of a budget is to hopefully help us adjust our spending habits as well. So you might have maybe found out that you might have spent a little bit too much on ASOS maybe. And hopefully looking back on that allows you to maybe not do that going forwards. So there are a fair few budgeting methods out there, such as the traditional budgeting method, the 50-30-20, the 80-20, envelope budgeting and reverse budgeting. Now, has anyone heard of any of these budgeting methods before? Got a few hands. What have you heard of before? The envelope, okay. Do you use that, the one you used? No? What about yourself? Same, amazing. Anyone else heard of any other ones? Brilliant. Have you used that one before? No? No worries at all. Well, I don't have long, but I do want to kind of break down the traditional budgeting method and the 50-30-20 budgeting method in this session today to hopefully help you guys create a budget. I mean, we have Black Friday coming up soon, we've got Christmas, so hopefully these budgeting methods will help you reduce your chances of overspending. So with the traditional budgeting method, has anyone heard of this method before? No? Does anyone want to give me a guess as what the budgeting method might be? Anyone want to guess? Oh, I might have to pick someone. Because you're smiling, lovely. I'm going to pick on you to guess. It's a very good guess, I'm not going to lie. Told you I don't bite, so you're close. So the traditional budgeting method is the aim of working out your income, deducting your expenses, and hopefully being left with some disposable income. Now, so if you're a student, that might consist of your student loan. It might be your salary after tax if you maybe do a part-time or full-time job while studying. You might even have a side hustle. So anything that comes into your bank account, you want to make a note of it. Then you want to work out what your expenses are. So especially as a uni student, you might be living away from home. So that includes all the fun things like your rent, your bills, maybe monthly subscriptions. I don't know if anyone's a fan of the gym, if anyone has Spotify, anything like that you want to make a note of as well. And hopefully deducting the expenses from the income, you'll be left with some disposable income to treat yourself, to save and or invest going forward. So that's the whole breakdown of what the traditional budgeting method is. Now, let's give it a try with this quick and easy budgeting example. So let's say, for example, I am starting off with £1,500 after tax each month. My total expenses might be £750. If I deduct that from my income, then I would be left with £750 roughly at the end of each month. Now, that sounds like a good, healthy sum of money, doesn't it? Yeah, a few nods. However, I know many people find it very easy to blow that within the first week. I heard a lot of horror stories at university, people blowing up their student loan in the first 2 weeks of freshers. Now, we want to avoid that at all costs. So this is a budgeting method I use personally, and to make it feel a little bit less overwhelming, I give myself a weekly budget. So what I would do is divide £750 by the number of weeks in the month to hopefully give me that weekly budget. And it makes it a little bit more tangible, a lot easier to manage as well. So that might be something you want to consider. So that's how the traditional budgeting method works. So next up we have the 50-30-20 budgeting method. So was it yourself, you said you'd heard of it before? Do you want to give me a guess on what it is? Yep. Yes, like that. You're very good on that one. So like you kindly mentioned, the 50-30-20 budgeting method is another great budgeting method that a lot of people tend to prefer to use. A reason why with this one, especially as students, where you might not be getting a regular income, you're actually stuck with that one instalment of your student loan. So some people like to have this breakdown instead. So like you mentioned, the whole aim of this method is that 50% of your income, so your student loan, goes towards your needs. So again, that's the fun stuff such as your rent, your bills. Sadly, a trip to the pub or your student night out does not fall into this category. Next, you want to do your 30% and allocate that towards your wants. So that's anything you'd like to spend your money on. And then the remaining 20%, like you mentioned, is to go towards your savings and or your investments. So we'll give it a good breakdown with this example here. So with the £1,500 after tax, I'd receive £750 towards my needs, £350 to go towards my wants, and then £250 to go towards my savings. So again, a lot of people like this breakdown as it means that you've got clear allocations. Now, what are your thoughts between the two? Who favours the look of the traditional budgeting method? Yourself, got a few hands? Anyone else with the traditional method? What about the 50-30-20? Now, there's a few people that didn't put their hands up, so I'm going to go again. Traditional budgeting method? 50-30-20? There we go. It's good even 50-50 split. Normally I get people that prefer this one instead. Now, who here has tried budgeting and has created this fancy Excel spreadsheet but has struggled to stick to it? Yeah, few nods. Okay, so again, when it comes to budgeting, there's obviously no point in spending all that time having that money date with yourself and struggling to stick to that budget. So the whole aim is to find ways that you can try and stick to it. Now, here are 3 of my top tips to help you stick to your budget. So tip number 1, create that separate bank account. So I'm the type of person, like I mentioned, I have a weekly budget. So I would move my money from my main account over into my separate bank account and I use Monzo for that. So for me, I had a very fun-filled summer. I don't know if anyone else did. And I've sat down with myself again to reevaluate my budget, and now I only go shopping with my Monzo card. So every Monday or Sunday, I'll transfer my weekly budget over into my Monzo account and only go spending with my Monzo account instead. So again, that's been a huge God saver when it comes to reducing my chances of overspending. Secondly, you can consider cashing out your budget instead. So if, again, you're someone that maybe likes the idea of the weekly budget, or you're happy with sticking to your monthly budget, cashing out that budget can really help your chances of overspending. So this is a method I did while studying at university. Again, I think at the time in first year I had like £60 as a weekly budget. So seeing six £10 notes made it so much more painful when it came to spending the money. So again, cashing out your budget can be another handy tip. And lastly, you can consider using a budgeting app. So has anyone here used a budgeting app themselves? No? You got one hand back there? Well, these are my personal app recommendations. So if you haven't heard of them, get to know. Money Hub and Emma are both fab budgeting apps that allow you to budget if you're someone that maybe doesn't fancy doing the budgeting or the hard work themselves. So Money Hub and Emma actually allow you to view all of your bank accounts in one platform, and they can also help you categorize your spending and also set budgets accordingly. So yeah, feel free to take a picture of this before I move on. So let's try and save the pennies. So obviously I'm sure we've all heard that we're living in this cost of living crisis. Has anyone not heard of that? No? Okay, everyone's very much aware that we're living in this cost of living crisis. Now, you guys sat in the audience, who is struggling to save the pennies? Yep, few hands. Or is everyone not feeling the pinch? Because I certainly am. Yep, more hands up. Yep, okay. So I wanted to share a few tips and help you guys save some extra pennies whilst at university. Now, who currently has a pot of savings? A few hands, Okay, good. Anyone else? Yep, amazing. So the reason why I asked that is because, like what I've said, we're in this cost of living crisis at the moment. So we want to try and save as much money as possible to prepare us for every eventuality, such as a pandemic, such as if maybe you lost your part-time job while studying, if you have any unexpected travel, car expenses. Whilst I was at university, my car broke down 3 times, so that was very expensive. So again, you just want to make sure you have some money saved up for every eventuality. Now, obviously, as a student, it can be quite hard to save the pennies, so I wanted to share some top tips to hopefully help you guys save some cash. So, tip number 1, sign up to student discount sites. Now, who's heard of Uni Days and Student Beans? Okay, amazing. And who's using them? Taking advantage? Good, I'm glad. So yeah, the good aim with these student discount sites is that it allows you guys as students to save the extra cash, hopefully with spending that you are meant to be spending and maybe not doing these large shopping hauls, but again, definitely take advantage of those student discount sites. Secondly, purchase second-hand textbooks. Now, that sounds like a very obvious one, but especially if you're in first year, you can kind of get a bit excited with your new course and all of a sudden you're spending hundreds of pounds on textbooks. Now, please don't. If you can, purchase them second-hand from either websites such as eBay or Amazon if you have to purchase them, or utilise your university library. Again, your university might even have a Facebook student group. We had one at University of Birmingham, and again, you'll always find older students selling on their textbooks, so definitely take advantage of that. Next up, purchase a 16 to 25 rail card for discounted train fares. Now, again, it might sound an obvious one, but for a lot of people that maybe have travelled from home, they get this can be really handy. So a rail card, I think, is around £30. So definitely utilise that if you haven't already got one and you know you need to travel further distance. If you are maybe living in London as well, you actually can connect your rail card to your Oyster card, which not many people know about. And also, if you have a Tesco Club card, you actually might be able to get a discount rail card using those points. So again, take advantage of it if you can. So also, who's a keen online shopper? Yeah, we've got Black Friday coming up soon. So one of my other tips is to make sure you utilise cashback websites. Now, a lot of people always think that they are a scam and they're too good to be true, but I'm here to reassure you that they're not. So my personal favourites are Top Cashback and Quidco, and they are websites that allow you to do your shopping through a number of different retailers, and by using them, they'll give you a percentage of your money back. Yes, it sounds too good to be true, but I use Top Cashback on the regular, and I actually used the money I've made to go to Lisbon earlier this year. So again, I'm a testimony that they actually work. Tip number 5, make sure you utilise comparison websites such as money.co.uk and comparethemarket.com, especially if you're maybe moving away from home, you need to get some contents insurance, if you need to go try and sort out your utility bills. Again, comparison websites will give you the best deals on the market, especially with the rising cost of energy bills at the moment, you want to make sure you're getting the best deal possible. So again, make sure you utilise that. And lastly, download a saving app that is designed to help you save better. So yes, we have the budgeting apps, but we also have some saving apps as well. So here are my personal favourites. So we have Chip and Money Hub here. Both of them are great apps that allow you to save the extra pennies while studying. Again, I feel like when we're young adults, we feel like we have to be able to save thousands of pounds to have a justifiable savings pot. But these are great as they allow you to create small savings pots, and they also both come with roundup features. So if you're maybe doing a shop in Tesco meal deal now is £3.90 without the club card. So let's use that example, and we're spending £3.90. What the app will do is it will round up your spending to £4, and it'll put 10 pence into a savings pot for you. So again, allowing you to save that extra pennies without really having to think about it. Now, let's make some extra cash. So obviously, I know as a university student, times can be pretty tough. You know, sometimes that student loan doesn't stretch as far as you want to. So I wanted to share some top tips on how you can make some extra cash whilst you're studying at uni as well. So tip number one, or an idea you can maybe consider, is creating a blog. So I know a lot of my friends at the moment have online blogs, and they've managed to make a considerable amount of money from it. Now, loads of people often wonder, how can you make money from just a simple website? But the way you can is through affiliate income. Now, what that means is that you might, let's say I might have a fashion blog, and I might place an affiliate link from a jacket to ASOS, and I can earn a percentage of the money back from the sales made through people shopping through my blog. So that can be a great way of, maybe you're a good writer, you can express yourself through a blog. It can be a great way of making some extra cash while studying at university. Sell your skills online. Now, who's into maybe copywriting, if they've got social media skills? Again, that can be another way of earning some extra cash whilst at university. There are some great platforms such as Fiverr and Upwork that allow you now to sell your skills. So I know a friend of mine that makes money from just doing voiceovers. Again, very simple, but makes a lot of money from doing that on the side alongside their full-time job. So that might be something you want to look at doing while studying at university. Now, next up, you've got your online surveys and your focus groups. So this is what I took stock of mostly while studying at university. And again, these can be a great way of making some extra cash while studying. I personally used to do these monthly, and I used to make around £100 to £150 every month, which again really helped when it came to my grocery shopping at Aldi. So some of my personal favourite platforms include Prolific, YouGov, Taluna, user testing, and Saros. So again, feel free to take a picture of those. Those ones I've personally used and I can completely vouch for. So next up we have selling your unwanted clothes and items. Again, that might sound like a very obvious one, but something again that I utilised while studying in sixth form and while studying at university. I'm not sure about you guys, but it only took me till the pandemic to realise how much spare stuff I have and I don't necessarily need. So me selling that online really helped. And again, here are some recommended platforms that I always recommend you using. Facebook Marketplace, especially when it comes to household items, it's a very good place if you have maybe like your unwanted lampshade or mattress. I definitely recommend using that. Amazing. So that brings me to the end of our session this afternoon. So I wanted to leave enough time to answer any of your burning questions.
I'll give you a big round of applause because that was so helpful, super helpful from all different kinds of angles. Does anyone have, we've got about 5 minutes, does anyone have any questions for Ola? Anyone online at home or here?
Oh yeah, we have a question.
So if somebody's not done all of this budgeting and then all of a sudden tomorrow they're struck with, oh, I need new tyres on my car or something like that, they don't know what to do, what advice would you give to them now?
So what was the first part?
So they haven't done any of this budgeting, they haven't done any of this saving, and disaster strikes.
Oh, that's a hard one. This is why I give the tips to budget and save to try and help you out. Obviously, I'm not for using taking out debt or loans, but as university students, you do have the privilege of having a student bank account, which you can have student-free overdraft, interest-free overdraft. So you might want to use that, but if you are someone that maybe has found themselves having to dip into that, hopefully it will allow you to reassess going forwards that you need to budget and then start saving the pennies, because you never want to live in your overdraft whilst at university, because you will eventually have to pay that back.
Fantastic answer. Anyone else, any questions? Probably got time for a quick one. Yeah, we've got one over there. Probably our last one, I think. Yeah.
Do you have any tips for prioritizing savings? So in like the 80, 30, 20, I do budgeting, but each month we are like, oh, we're going to save this much. And then we end up being like, oh, we'll just take that out because we're doing this month and we need to pay this. And this is a busy month and we want to go to London or buy Christmas presents at the moment. Like, do you have any tips on prioritizing the savings as well as enjoying the now?
Yeah, so personally, I always recommend have multiple savings pots. So you can have more than one savings account, which I think people always often forget. So if you can, open multiple savings pots. Even these apps, like I mentioned, allow you to do so. You can maybe, rather than, so let's say we had the 80-20-30 method and you have 20% of your savings, you might want to portion now that 20% bucket into different multiple pot buckets that allow you to evenly split your savings. Also, if you're maybe someone that often dips in and out of their savings without wanting to, then you can also look at the type of savings account you're using. So you might want to maybe consider a fixed bond account, which actually means you can't touch that money for a certain amount of time. So again, there's different savings accounts that you can maybe use depending on how long you want to leave your savings untouched.
That's so useful. So it's something else to control you rather than yourself. Ola, I think you've been absolutely brilliant. Honestly, I think you covered all angles, and just I'm sure loads of tangible tips. I've picked up some tips as well. So thank you so much for coming away from London. Thank you for your energy as well, because the last talk of the day is always hard. So thank you so much. Big round of applause.